This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, Heroes of the Horn? This is Steven, your host with Fantology Podcast, with my lifelong friends, Jake and Josh, talking about the Wheel of Time Season 2, Episode 8, the season finale. And we have not covered every episode this season, but we have done several of these episodes. So now we get to finally see, what are some of our culminating thoughts and where do we land on everything that's happened. And let's focus mostly on the finale, but we can have some kind of broader season discussion too if we want to get there. But just to start off, what did you guys think? Did it land for you? Through the first 7 episodes, I was kind of up and down. I was really hoping for something big in episode 8, and I'll just kind of start the discussion by saying I thought they took a huge swing here. They threw everything they could at this episode. They spent, probably most of their budget on this one episode, so they really went for it. How did it play out?
I liked the analogy that you gave in your review, Stephen, that it was like probably like a double or a triple, I believe is the analogy you used. I'm not a big baseball guy, but generally that means that like they got like 2 plates right. Like it wasn't a home run,
yeah,
but
double second.
Baseball enough to know a double or triple is. Come on, Josh.
I guess I wasn't sure if that means that 2 people ran home or just that the one person got to 2 bases. I don't
know. No, just that the one person advances to that number of bases. Okay. I'm actually recording this podcast during the Diamondbacks playoff game right now, so that's how dedicated I am, and that's why the baseball analogy came out. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the most recent baseball experience I have, my nephew's on a baseball team, so I try and make a couple of his games every season, but that's about the only experience I have.
I want to get into baseball.
Do you? It's more fun nowadays. They made some changes to the rules recently, so now it moves a lot faster. It's more exciting to watch.
You can't the pitcher time, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, there's pitcher time. You can only throw over so many times. They've done a few kind of subtle things, so it doesn't feel too much different, but the action just happens faster.
How are the A's?
Oh, sorry. Wait, no.
The A's are terrible. The A's are the worst team in the league, Jake. Yeah.
Okay.
Moneyball's over. Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Sorry, we'll talk about Wheel of Time. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it worked. I thought it was great television. Maybe better television than like better adaptation of the Great Hunt. But I thought it did really good. I thought it was engaging, kept my attention. There definitely was like some plot armor going on, and there's definitely some nitpicky things that maybe are beyond, maybe not aren't quite nitpicky, like stuff that is just pretty glaring, plot I'll struggle with this word, plot contrivances.
Sure.
Contrivances. Yeah.
Contrivances.
Are we? That's a word. Yes, that sounds like a word.
Yeah, it is now.
Accepted. These words are accepted, Josh.
Anyway, so there's definitely some things that you can point out. But just as like watching it and enjoying it, I really enjoyed it while I was watching it, and I thought it hit well. I thought that it ended up that some of the arcs throughout the season, some of the character arcs were concluded in pretty satisfying ways. Especially like with the land moraine stuff, I thought that was concluded in a much more satisfying way than was in episode 7. Matt actually has something to do, and Egwene, I thought that was the strongest point of the season, continued to be a strong point. This episode, I think some of my disappointments were Nynaeve maybe throughout the episode didn't have much to do, and obviously, like if you're comparing it to the book, it wasn't, I don't think, quite as epic and satisfying as the ending of book 2, but still just a good episode. I thought it was great TV. So there's my thoughts broadly.
Hit on a lot of points there.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned the baseball analogy. I was just listening to, there's a YouTube channel I like to listen to called the Punk Rock NBA, and it was going over best cover songs of
Punk
the
Rock
2000s.
NBA. Is this a channel I need to follow?
I really like him. He does actually, I don't know if it was that channel or
he does
his
a lot
like
of Twitch
personal
streams
channel. Yeah.
He does Twitch streams that he then converts to YouTube videos.
but he referred to a couple of the covers as doubles. Nothing amazing, but solid. And so it's funny that I was just listening to that and that came up. If I were to use a baseball analogy, I would say this was a walk. Like they walked to first.
That's
Comparatively,
a good thing. I mean, that
Like
is
they didn't
a
strike out, but
successful.
they got.
A walk is a successful plate
I know.
appearance.
I know. Compared to last season, which was a strikeout.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So this was like barely made it on base, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe walk isn't the right. Like
No,
I said,
okay,
I'd like
walk
to get
is
into
fine.
baseball.
Walk is fine. I mean, it's not. You're right. Right. Yeah, I like the idea of baseball. It's not like it's not an exciting hit or anything. Like as a fan,
like, yeah. I think, as like we just barely recorded for 6 and 7. And I think I was higher on 6 and 7 than you guys were, or maybe specifically 7. Like I thought it carried momentum, and then I think the smaller plot points of this episode were handled pretty well. Like I thought Perrin was decent. Like he had some cool parts, but I think Rand, Moraine, Nynaeve were all pretty lackluster, and Ishamael as well. So
let's go through maybe like one at a time, character at a time, and kind of throw out some.
Matt's another high point. I agree.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So let's say, by the way, if you have not read the books, we will not do spoilers. I mean, I do want to maybe talk a little bit about Shamael, which I feel like could be spoilers.
I think we do spoilers through book 3 again still, right?
Okay. I'll try to talk around what I think we can talk enough where like if you have not read the books, you can kind of you won't know what we're talking about.
Past book 3.
Okay.
I think
we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, anyway, so should we start with Rand? Because I mean, I think he was the headliner of this punk rock episode, and he had a lot to do. So for me, the worst part of the episode was Rand v. Turok, which was just like, what was that?
I thought that was awesome.
I don't think it was the worst part, man. But
that was the worst part of the whole thing for me.
I thought that was that was great for me. I
Josh,
never got
what isn't good for you though. Let's be honest.
Okay, wait.
Just because you didn't do anything.
yeah. But I honestly thought that was funny. I don't remember Turok wasn't a character I ever thought about like after I read the books.
That confrontation is a huge part.
Yeah.
I
know, but Blade Master duel is pretty epic.
That's how he becomes a Blade Master and earns the title and earns the ownership of a Heron marked blade, essentially. Which in the book it's a bigger theme because he's training with Lan.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the worst part about that scene to me was they clearly reference the part in the book, apart from them just meeting. Like Turok says the same line of, let's see what it takes to be a Blade Master on this side of the ocean. And it's like, oh, we'll reference this, and then falls flat. But
I think the issue here for me was this was just bleed over from some bad decisions they made at the beginning of the season, because they didn't have Rand and Lan together at the beginning, so they couldn't do any training. Rand never had a chance to progress his swordsmanship throughout. And then by the time we get up to episode 8, we can't have him duel because it would look ridiculous if he was to beat him in a sword fight. And
I think to fix this, they would have had to fix this the way I'd like. They would have had to change his arc a bit to where, and I think it would have been stronger if Rand's use of the one power was more limited this season. Because I think at this point in where the show was, it would have been like, Rand can use the one power. Why is he dueling this guy? Whereas in the book he couldn't really, at least not like consciously control it. And so I essentially agree. Like they'd written themselves kind of into this position, and this is the fallout of it, and it fell flat for me.
And I guess personally, I don't see the huge like that as being a huge thing. I mean, I do understand that Rand is like a good swordsman and everything, and like he's definitely a blade master, and that definitely was part of the books. And so I'm not trying to like necessarily minimize that, but like if that's something that gets cut from the show, I don't think it's like a series breaking thing. I think it's just maybe
Right.
mildly
It's not
disappointing.
series breaking, but why have that confrontation at all?
Well, you still, so just do you just cut Turok entirely, or do you? I
Yeah,
think
like
you just writer
there
it.
was no reason for that confrontation.
Yeah, the whole Turok character in the show did nothing.
Yeah, I mean, just it kind of. Well, it does. He did. It more was the internal conflict between Ashamael, Suroth, and like them and being in conflict with Turok and adding
He,
some drama there.
A
like
little
he could have
bit.
had a much more minimal role, really just to be focused on the Sean Chan part, which it just didn't make sense. Like why have that confrontation if it ends so quickly and like it doesn't bring the consequences that it had in the book. It was just kind of like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I guess. And then it's also just a little mini boss that Rand can defeat too.
But he did defeat it like a boss. It was over in a second. So
But he
that's what I mean.
looked,
Like it didn't really
Turok
mean,
looked cool.
But
Like he
I think
came
well,
on and
yeah.
had a
but that's what
funny
I'm saying is it,
costume and did some sword maneuvers, so it looked cool.
well, but also it shows you Rand's power level that like even like kind of a key or like a leader, a big leader, or general
Yeah.
person among the Sanjin, Rand can just bulldoze over.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is they didn't need Turok to do that. They could have just done that. Like if they weren't going to have the like memorable Turok Rand confrontation, don't have a Rand Turok confrontation at all,
So you have just killed
As a
Suroth.
book reader, like he could have just been like one powering his way through Shan-Chan soldiers, nameless Shan-Chan soldiers, and it would have achieved the same, if not better, because they like set it up and then it's over, and it's either supposed to be taken comically like Indiana Jones, or if it's supposed to be like an awe and like show the awe of his power. I feel like it was kind of like fell flat for that because it ended so quickly.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right.
We're
I
probably
think
spending
that
too
comes
much
down
time on
to
this one detail because
Yeah.
there's a ton
Yeah.
we could get into. Let's go forward with Rand and talk about,
Yeah.
I guess, the end with Ishamael.
Yeah, I again like my view of a perfect arc for Rand would have been less ability with the one power, more training, like more trying to learn how to do it and focusing on how it's like he's not in control of when he can use it or when he can't. So that way the confrontation with the Ishamael is still him not really channeling. And I wish him and Ishamael actually fought. That those are my main criticisms with his arc in this episode is I wish like there was no the whole like battle in the sky, like and like yeah, Moraine uses her dragon weave to declare him, but there was nothing like anyone could have done that at any time. There was nothing like in the books where it's clearly everyone sees him battling the Dark One in the sky. Like everybody knows like that's the dragon versus like no one saw him on the tower, other than some Shan-Chan. It just really minimized that, in my opinion.
That's true. Yeah, it seemed like Moraine could have pulled off her Gandalf firework at any time.
Yeah, at any time. Like there's nothing like more supernatural to it, I should say. Like him, because I think in the books it's really at this point, I think you could criticize Robert Jordan, him not really knowing exactly what the rules of the world are yet. But I think it's assumed Rand and Ishamael were fighting in the world of dreams, and that bled into the sky. Like that's the
Right.
logic behind it. Which again, like to an average person seeing that's going to be so much more impressive than just weaves of the one power.
Which could have happened. Like they did enough with Tal Ramriad that they could have done that in the show.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't have to be super effects heavy either. It would just show them fighting and that people could see it.
Although I guess the way they've set it up in the show is they're basically always sleeping. So it would be kind of weird to be entering it in the waking world at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my ideal way to adapt that, which I don't think was out of the realm of possibility. And it's really just the fact that his confrontation wasn't a big confrontation that I was disappointed by. But
I think my biggest thing is I have no sense of how strong Rand is. And that's kind of what you were talking about as well. Like one minute he's shielded, the next minute he's just blasting through Turok. And I mean, he doesn't really do much to take out a Shamael because Egwene does most of kind of the shielding part, but I have no like Rand is the dragon. Like, what does that mean? What can he really do?
Yeah, nothing that he has done in like pivotal moments, it couldn't have been done by other characters so far. But which isn't like Josh would say, that isn't like series breaking, but it makes it more disappointing for me.
But that's not to say I found the whole episode pretty entertaining all the way through. So there were a lot of things that were kind of nitpicky, and I was like, I don't know if that quite makes sense, or I don't love that. But my simpler side, I guess, was entertained enough the whole time where I couldn't look away, and I basically enjoyed it, and I was able to kind of ignore most of those things. So
I unfortunately was not able to ignore
it.
most of it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Jake's our critic.
Well, I was talking to a buddy at work, and he's like, for me, I'm just like, this isn't gonna be like, I can just separate them from the books, and then I enjoy it as a TV show. And I was thinking about, like, I don't think I would enjoy this TV show if I didn't know the Wheel of Time, I wouldn't enjoy this TV show. So I only really enjoy it because of the IP, but that also brings its own baggage with it for me. So it's like a catch-22. Like, I only enjoy it because it is Wheel of Time, but that also makes me more critical of it. But
that's fair. Yeah. I mean, you've obviously thought through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching it with Mackenzie, who's my wife. She's not a book reader. She read the first book, but she enjoys it. I have a brother-in-law that watches it. He's really enjoyed this season a lot more than season 1. So I don't know. I have non-book readers in my life that have been enjoying this season, and I've heard from them that they think it's a step up as well.
I think it's a definite step up from season 1 for sure.
Yeah. So we got through Rand. I agree with what you were saying though, Stephen. I think that Rand needs to have some more highlights or some more moments.
He needs like a training montage. I mean, training montages are overdone. They're not always great, but he needs some, he's got to do some like things to show that he's leveling up, show what he can do, what he can't do, what he's getting better at, etc.
They could have had Logain training him in the sword if they didn't want Land to do it, or they could have had like more scenes of him trying to learn to use the one power from Logain and not really being able to. And I think that could have grounded him more. But
yeah, I agree.
And
okay, one of the highlights which you mentioned, which I totally forgot about, I think that they're setting up Perrin's storyline in a pretty profound way. I think
I like the change they had.
Yeah, I think that was really smart, actually, because I don't want to spoil things going forward, but the confrontation with Perrin and the White Cloaks, I think it's going to be a lot more personal, a lot more meaningful, a lot more, I agree, impactful.
Yeah, they've made Dane Bornhald much more reasonable so far than he is in the books.
Yeah, they made him sympathetic.
He seems more honorable in the show, more sympathetic and more level-headed, whereas in the books he's much more of a zealot. And in the books, Perrin doesn't kill Jeffrem. He dies fighting the Shan-Chan, but Perrin was there, and Dane knew Perrin was there, and so automatically assumed it's him. Whereas this combines like book 1 stuff with that conflict. It makes it much more personal.
Yeah, which I think was great, and the whole thing. It's like, the Daddy Bornhall, I forget his name, but
Jeffrem.
Or Joff,
Jeffrem. But like, he didn't do anything wrong, really. Like, there's a wolf attacking one of his soldiers. Like, of course he's gonna try and take it out. And then Perrin didn't really do anything wrong, because it's like he just watched one of his brothers get chopped in half. Like, of course that's gonna send him into a rage. So I think that's one of those moments that like nobody's really doing anything wrong, but now there's like this blood feud between them that's totally understandable. And and it's gonna hopefully play out well.
I think one change is they did make Perrin more at fault in the show than he is in the books, and I think that has potential to play out in a better way, honestly. So
like you think in the books you felt like it was more justified than what you saw in the show?
Yeah, because the scene that's kind of recreating is a combination of when Egwene and Perrin are captured by the White Cloaks in book 1, and that's when he kills White Cloaks for the first time with the wolves.
Right.
And that killing of White Cloaks was way more justified than killing Jeffrem was. Like, he was captured against his will, trying to escape. You know what I mean? Like, they were wrong to hold him prisoner. Whereas this one, like,
he was being held down with a knife to his throat by what's his face, and then
oh no, yeah, no, it makes more
Valda.
sense to kill Valda, but to kill Jeffrem in that moment, he went into like a rage and killed him in cold blood. He didn't kill him to defend himself,
One minor thing with that, I thought it was really weird that Valda had him like down with a knife against his throat, and then Jeffrem was like, "Come on, we're going," and he's like, "Okay, see ya." That seems weird, but anyway.
So, and I don't think this is a criticism, Josh. I just think, like, he killed Jeffrem more out of like rage, bloodlust, rage. Like, that's more cold blood than trying to like save yourself, which I think like leads for more tension, and I think it could have better payoffs. So I think Perrin didn't have a ton to do this season, and that really helped him move along. Honestly,
in the books, I'll be vague because this is kind of a longer conflict, but in the books, this whole conflict for me was just kind of annoying because I was like, come on, really? Isn't Perrin okay here? Like, this happened a long time ago. It was in self-defense. Like, can we just move past this? It was very drawn out. So I think this is, I agree. I think this is set up to be better. And it's hopefully they can play into the misunderstanding of it a lot. And it'd be interesting. I'd like to see Dane lose the honorable kind of personality that he seems to have now. And I'd like to see him become darker and darker. Like, that could be a cool transition too. Have they had a child buyer figure in the show? I don't remember. Was there one in the first season? Yeah, maybe there was with Valda, like whoever was with Valda. I don't remember. Valda's the only main takeaway I had from that. Yeah, but kind of like a dark cloak, you could say. A dark cloak, yeah. A book cloak. Yeah. I think
Jake's on his book cloak arc right now.
Book Hey guys, you can like and dislike things. You can be nuanced. Just don't bring hate into it. I think along the same lines, I think most of Matt's plot in this episode was pretty good. I think we got to feel like a more Matt character, personality come through. Yeah. Some parts were a little too cheesy for my taste. I thought him tying the dagger to a stick was an interesting move, but the way he did it, he tied it with this flimsy cloth. I'm like, there's no way that's going to stay on for
I had the same thought. Yeah, that's going to last one stroke, and then that is going to fall off.
And would it even pierce with one stroke? I mean, I don't remember the dagger being melty like that in the first season, but and then the line when he blows the horn, and I don't know if we need to talk about it. We all know the horn looked horrible. No idea what they're thinking there. But when he blows the horn and the heroes come, and then he's like, I know, that's who I am. I'm a hero of the horn. It was so bad.
It was great.
That was
the perfect level of cheese.
But it's cheesy enough. Yeah, it's almost crossed into Spider-Man 3 level. So maybe that will become endearing to me.
What was more cheesy, that line or Loyal's little speech?
Oh, the one that he sets that up. He sets up Uno returning, and Matt being a thing. He's like, "We truly are the heroes of this age." That was okay. That was Loyal voice, Jake. I know. I've been practicing.
Yeah, that was.
I'm practicing his. He's rumbling to himself in the books. The bumblebee sound. I think Matt's line was cheesier. Because Loyal also is just a cheesy character in general. That's true to his character.
Yeah, Matt's been this dark emo kid all season, and then he's like, "I'm a hero of the horn."
Yeah, I know. I feel like his plot, his arc, was not great this season, but also, I think he did good things this episode.
Super disappointing about Min, just falling off the face of the earth.
Yeah, they've done Min.
Why even? I mean, what's the point of her character?
I don't know. She'll come back. Right?
I kind of
Yeah.
had this crackpot theory, and this wouldn't have been book accurate, I don't think, but that like a Shamael was like influencing her visions in order to get for her to get Matt to where he needed to be.
I don't think he was. I think he was
No,
played.
he wasn't.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah, I mean, he got himself killed almost because he believed in her visions too much. You know.
Well, no, I mean he played it. He played the vision the way he wanted to, by
Well,
having the
but
illusion.
he assumed that Rand would die when he got hit by the
Yeah.
dagger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
So,
got
yeah.
overconfident.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts on Uno, the hero of the horn, Uno? Another cheesy
I
thing.
loved it.
That was
Jake,
so bad.
Jake, come on,
That
Jake.
was so bad.
Dude, I
no one
actually
I
got
ta-
a
no
little
one I
bit
talked to
emotional.
about no one I talked about at work liked it. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that was terrible."
No,
I was okay with it. I honestly I kind of liked it. I'll be honest, I liked it.
He didn't have enough screen time for him coming back to mean anything. Like there was no, if you weren't a book fan, that didn't really have any feeling to it.
Correct. It was it did seem like something that was just for book fans.
People I talked to at work were like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even know that was the same guy." Like so like that obviously didn't work.
Well,
and
so then it didn't matter to them, right?
Right, but then like why do it? You know, if people aren't going to get it. When you have limited time and resources, like you want to make sure everything
it took
counts.
up 3 seconds.
He gave Perrin a magic. It was more than 3 seconds, Josh.
Yeah, and he gave Perrin a
It
magic
was like
shield.
maybe 10 seconds.
He had like 20 words of dialogue in this episode. That's more than 3 seconds, man.
They were like, I'm
He's
a
like,
hero.
"You're right, I'm a bloody." He's like, let's effing do this. And you're right, I'm a bloody hero of the horn. And then he's like, Perrin, he just like jumps off the tower from where he's at, and he's like, "Here you go, Perrin." And he runs off. Like all the other heroes are up top, and somehow all of a sudden he appears. Also,
he's a hero of the horn. He knows that Perrin needs to be saved. He's got to go help him out.
How did he? Yeah.
Effects
also,
were kind of funny.
The blurriness looked really bad. I think those effects were not.
Where they were kind of like zipping around.
Yeah, just like the heroes, they moved at the same speed as everyone else, but they were just like blurry when they moved.
It was a little bit weird.
No. The effects, I mean, we know that they're not going to be great at this point.
But I think that's a stylistic choice, not a budget choice. Like it's like the horn itself. They could have gotten another thing. My work buddy said, he's like, they literally could have gone to any high school, grabbed a French horn from the band section, and it would have looked infinitely better than what they had on screen.
Okay, but it does look like we're gonna get a pretty book accurate Brigitte. How do you say
Brigitte?
Yeah. Brigitte, yeah.
I forgot to even look for her.
I was looking for her, but the only woman I thought it focused on was the like samurai lady. I didn't see the.
No, there's a blonde archer.
Was there? Yeah, I missed that.
Totally forgot that. I'm a failure as a book fan right now.
I was looking for her, but maybe they just were cutting around so fast I missed it. I don't know, or I just missed it.
I think she was standing like one in front of Uno.
Yeah, and they did. I wish they would have like mentioned Arthur Hawkwing. Like that's part of the dramatic irony of book 2 is the Shan-Chan are the armies of Arthur Hawkwing returned, and then they fight literally Arthur Hawkwing himself, like at the end.
Right. And they had a character who looked like he would be Arthur.
Yeah. I think it's the guy on Matt's right.
Right.
I think the horn itself was. I think we can agree that was a pretty flopped storyline.
Yeah, it was nothing until it was something, and it did a lot to redeem who Matt's character was through 2 seasons, but did so with some fumbling of the
Also, this is a budget thing, so I can like accept this more. But there's more than like 12 heroes, right? Like
honestly, I don't remember.
I imagined it, and I could be wrong. I imagined it like an army, like at least 100 people. Like
I didn't imagine that. I imagined maybe like 20-ish. Like you're playing some video game and you have like your legendary figure who comes in and leads, the band of whatever, but you can only you only have so much mana to bring out so many of the legendary figures. You only get like 20 of them. That was a long explanation. That was stupid.
I'm Googling it to see. I could totally misremember.
All right, let's go on to another character
Yeah.
while Jake Googles that and proves me wrong.
It says,
Elaine
well,
Nynaeve?
it says at least a dozen here. So maybe it was book accurate. Maybe they name a dozen people and that's why they did that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, budget wise, like,
Yeah. And
honestly,
yeah,
I was,
even if it were not book accurate, I get the budget reasons for that. So that's not a big complaint.
and that was one thing that I really wanted in this episode was to like fill a big scale. It didn't really get there, you know, it wasn't two huge armies, but it felt okay. Like it was bigger than all the other conflicts they've had so far. So I felt like the fate of the city was indeed in the balance, at least.
Yeah. I think if Rand and Ashamel had a actual fight for the episode, I would have been like pretty much satisfied with the conflict of the episode. But
okay, Elaine Nynaeve, I was a little disappointed in this one because it seemed like they were setting up them doing something impactful, but they never really did.
Yeah. I think they didn't know how to use Nynaeve this season after the Arches storyline, honestly. I think she should have either got Elaine out or Egwene out, like freed Egwene, or they should have just like skipped that and had her be the healer. Like it's inaccurate to Nynaeve's character that she wouldn't have been able to heal in that situation. Like so many times she just makes herself mad, and she would have been pissed at this time, like seeing so many people hurt and like the injustice around. Like they should have leaned into that aspect of her block, like make her mad and then she can channel.
They are bound and determined to make Elaine feel like the most capable, independent woman that is going to Egwene, that is going to learn everything on her own and defeat anyone. Like, which, you know, that is a lot of Egwene. Like, she is an awesome character, but
I'm honestly fine with most of Egwene thing. I think it wouldn't have been detrimental to Egwene's character to have Nynaeve rescue her and still have the Ashamel showdown. And I also think I think Nynaeve at the very least should have healed Rand. Like maybe she couldn't heal Egwene, but then seeing her own Two Rivers folk hurt, she should have been the one healing Rand and been like telling Egwene like, hey, I need your help Elaine, I need your help as well. So then Rand could still have the you moment.
But no, Jake, they needed Elaine there for my second least favorite moment of the whole episode, which was what you just mentioned, who are you, Elaine?
Best part of the episode.
Best part.
Josh, come on, man. Come on.
Just a second. I got a screen. I just had it. I got a screen thing for you. Screen grab.
You have a screen grab to prove us all wrong?
No, just
oh
no.
Oh yeah. You got that blurred background.
No. You got the blur.
The faces maybe.
Okay, just tell us what it is.
Send it to me. Send it to me and I'll show it.
No, because it won't do
that. You text it.
Okay, we have Uno.
Right yeah. Well, let's just not effing stand here.
Do you see her right there? Crud.
Is it? See, I see the blonde. See, I've seen the girl with the dark hair.
Yeah, let me go. It gets a better shot for like right.
I hope our YouTube subscribers are peering at their phone to see this blurry little tiny.
Wait. Okay, here's a better.
Gotta see this exclusive content.
Yeah, that's definitely Brigitte. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely Brigitte.
Yeah, definitely.
I think at the moment I was just
nice call.
Uno,
wait, Josh, in the X-ray, you're on the pause right there. In the X-ray, does it
doesn't have,
say the
no,
character
I looked,
name?
It does not have her named in the X-ray.
I wonder if they haven't officially cast her.
They might not have casted her. They might have just had it like an extra or
and so they might use that same actress or cast someone else to
but they definitely
win, and if she gets actual screen time.
Right.
Well,
Moraine and Land.
I think they were wasted. I don't think they did anything this episode.
I just don't understand
the oaths.
So Yeah, I don't understand the O's thing. I felt like that was just weird and not
Yeah.
accurate to what they've done in the books or the TV show. But furthermore, I don't understand the whole convoluted line of thinking where they're like, Lanfear put us here so we could stop the shielding, which we know will happen from the boat, because
Yeah,
obviously that's where they're going to do the shielding from. And
I
so we'll
think
send
she
you down
just
this secluded beach to stop. Like,
wait.
that
Okay,
is
okay. Let me
4D
just say, I
chess
think that this
when
is
we don't
all
even understand the
overblown. This has
first
been
move.
wait. This has been like kind of triggering to me.
Okay, Josh, tell me why
Just
I'm
because
wrong.
I feel like everybody like harps on this. What's her Lanfear knew what Ishamael's plan was. She knew that he had a backup contingency plan to have the people on the boat getting ready to channel Rand. He knew that
how'd she
he
know
had
that?
because she had it just I don't you do have to take some leaps of logic
because he
here.
used this backup plan specifically because Lanfear betrayed him. So if he had shared this plan with her, he wouldn't have used it. So
Okay,
how would
you
she
just
know?
have to assume. Okay, if you assume that Lanfear had this
That's the
knowledge,
big issue, though. Is it
everything
makes no sense how they
makes
know?
no. You just if you can assume that Lanfear had this knowledge somehow, then everything totally makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's a big leap.
If
Like,
you
how
can
would
make an
she
irrational
know?
assumption, then it
No,
all
it's not
makes
an
sense.
irrational assumption. You just that I don't know.
How
It's
would
not
she
that hard to
know?
see a big fleet of ships out there in the ocean.
And
Like
know that
she,
they're gonna shield Rand. That's the part. Like, how would she know that?
So I don't remember enough of the books, but is that a reasonable? And I know we don't want to go purely off the books for this show, but is that a reasonable thing to be able to do, to shield someone from a boat like at that distance when clearly
I
they're out
think
of line of sight?
I think you would need to have line of sight, which I think they were trying to say they did because of the way the tower was. Because he said like you'll be in position. Like he said something like that. So I think they're supposed to have line of sight in the
Yeah,
show.
I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, that's just something they did for the show, but
Yeah.
I
The
don't
distance
get yeah.
the distance is longer than you could get in the books, but I don't think I think that's fine. I think the big issue is Lanfear's plot is convoluted to like, I'm gonna drop you off here and not tell you anything and just let you do this when like how would she know? Also, why wouldn't she just tell
well,
Lan and Moraine like
theoretically, if Rand would have heard that she was sending him up there to get, and with the strong possibility of him getting shielded or even stilled, then he probably wouldn't have, gone up there. I don't know. Like the way it played out, I don't think she ever really had a time where she could get away from Rand, explain her whole plan to Moraine, have Moraine trust her enough to go along with it, and then like I think she
Right.
just
Yeah, okay, that's valid. Still
put
convoluted,
Moraine
like
in a
how she
position where she needed
knows,
to be in
but
order
how
to
would
I
she
guess
know where Moraine needs to be? Even
Well,
like
Jake,
it makes
maybe
that's what I'm
maybe
saying. If you
she's
can
just saying we either kick him out here and they're, not a part of it. They're not, she's not gonna get in my way. Or say Ishamael does try to do something, then I'll have someone that's gonna protect Rand kind of on the outside to maybe help out.
Yeah, I get that's the gist of it. I think the execution was not well done and didn't make sense. Like it didn't.
I thought it was fine.
And
I thought it worked.
I think
don't
it
know.
did make
Like,
sense that Lanfear would know, and also it gave Lan and Moraine nothing to do for like the whole episode until the end.
Okay, I disagree with that. I think it gave
What else did they
Lan and
do?
Moraine. Yeah, I think it gave Lan and Moraine a perfect time to have like their healing, reconnection talk that they needed to have, and put them in position to be a vital part of the episode. I thought it did exactly what it needs to do with them.
The pacing was so off for them, just like walking through this desert while this battle was happening, and like, yeah.
But don't you kind of need
I think
that
they were
broken
wasted.
up? And I mean, in order to not be exhausted by what you're watching, you need a little bit of breakup in the pacing. It can't all be battle, battle, battle,
Yeah.
battle.
So I just watched the Battle of Blackwater, and it would go between like this, epic, storming, like having the ships. Sorry, no spoilers for Game of Thrones, but having the ships blown up, the whole like invasion, like invading the shore and
The
everything,
keep outside,
and then it would flash back to Cersei and what's her face Ned
Episode
Stark's daughter.
2.
Sansa.
Sansa. Oh yeah.
Sansa, like Cersei and Sansa, like talking in their like room where all the women and children were, and
Oh right.
Cersei was like giving Sansa lessons. Like
I don't remember that episode specifically for the pacing, but The issue I had with this is it didn't feel like any tension with Lan and Moraine. They're just wandering. They're not doing anything, and this other battle's happening. Like they didn't need to focus on that. Like they just should have had Lan and Moraine doing more this episode, is my opinion.
Okay.
I do like what Josh said, where they were at least able to repair their relationship because.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I like that
ever.
do I like that just because I hated it so much at the beginning of the season? Now I'm like, oh, finally they're undoing the.
To a certain extent, that's how I feel. Like it was my least favorite plot line of the season, and now at least it's over.
It's kind of, and maybe I'm being too critical here, but it almost seems like that conflict was pointless.
Yeah, I agree.
It was just filler for no reason. So like, maybe that's why the repairing wasn't satisfying for me, because it's like, this is pointless anyways. And then rebonding, like, did she dismiss the bond actually?
See, that's another thing that people complaining about. I think it was just a dramatic way, like in the book.
She channeled though. She rebonded him.
Well, maybe, or it was just letting the bond
for people watching the show to see two pretty people doing something that's kind of.
He literally asked for the bond back. She rebonded him.
Well, you can shield, you can like block the bond, right? Like
but then you just bring it back. You don't have to do any kind of like complicated.
It's probably just a visual thing. Like I don't know.
They made it that scene. I thought she was just suppressing the bond the whole time, and then I assumed as soon as she was or maybe the bond was gone because she was shielded. I don't know, but I assumed as soon as she was unshielded that the bond was back until this episode, and I was like, oh, did I miss that she actually?
I think you're just reading into it. I think it was just a way to show that the bond was reestablished.
I'm not reading into it. They literally said, like, give me the bond again. Like she literally rebonded him in the show. And I thought I had missed.
I don't think she rebonded him. I think that she let the bond back. Like it's kind of semantics, but they had talked about like with that one word.
It's the difference between doing it again or reestablishing what's already there.
Yeah.
But it's like reconnecting to Wi-Fi versus like adding the network again. Like it's kind of
good analogy.
Josh,
okay.
Josh, but why? So I had assumed up to the point the bond was back already. Why, if the bond wasn't, why would she wait until that point to unmask the bond? If that's all she had done was mask it.
She probably wasn't ready to let Lan back in.
They had to break through their, emotional
it's just a dramatic character arc.
No,
it doesn't need to be like a huge
it was a poorly written plot to begin with, and it didn't, like, I'm still not sure what the way they wrote it. The bond was gone and she rebonded him. That's literally when they were together and the weaves were going around them. That was bonding a warder. That's what she was doing.
How do you know that? Okay, fine. I don't know.
Clues, man.
I don't think so. I think he had a big conversation with one of Alana's warder about them constantly masking the bond whenever they weren't in battle, and how hard that was for him. Like they set up that bonds could be masked and unmasked.
Yeah, and that's what I assumed was happening. But you don't do that
Jake's
to unmask the bond.
Yeah, Jake's why do this?
Have some cool visual effect in a TV show? I think you're reading way too much into like a little visual effect for dramatic purposes. Like.
No, man, your purpose. I think you're not being intellectually honest with yourself. That was a bonding moment.
There's like a 15-second visual effect in a TV show, and like
it was the climax about it. That was like the climax or the resolution of their conflict.
Yeah, reestablishing
it wasn't just a 15-second thing. That was the resolution.
Either way, they're reestablishing their bond. And you're saying that it was completely gone, and I'm saying it was being unmasked. And they would have had to channel either way to do that.
I think at this point
you don't have to channel. You don't have to channel to mask or unmask a bond.
You don't.
I think at this point we've established both sides of the argument, so we're gonna have to accept a disagreement and move on. But you both articulated your thoughts, so good job, good debate.
Thank you.
I feel like you both feel like you won. So take that home, take that to the bank.
It depends what a win is. Is a win convincing the other side? Because if so,
establishing
that did not happen, but you were both able to articulate what you thought, and it made sense from your point of view. So good job. Okay, so we only have a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
But let's just end on the Forsaken thing. I thought the way that, they obviously portrayed the whole Forsaken seals and everything differently. I thought it was fine. I liked the way that they Ishamael broke the seals because it wasn't super obvious, but there was a moment where he was like dusting off his hands, and I think if you were paying attention, you would have picked up pretty quickly what was going on, but wasn't focused on until the end. So I thought that was pretty well done, and I thought Mogideon at the end was also pretty good. So I'm looking forward to more Forsaken Unleashed.
I liked how they brought in Bail Doman again. I think that was a really good way. That was a good example of bringing in a character that has been a small role, but it's like, oh, I remember this person, and it kind of connects why they were important in the beginning. I wonder how they're doing the seals. Like, is breaking all the seals just freeing the Forsaken? Because it's definitely doing that. But is it also like, are there more seals that need to be broken for the dark one?
Yeah,
to be free?
they haven't really addressed like the dark one's prison or seals at all yet.
It doesn't seem like it, but it'd be interesting if somehow Bail Doman did escape with a couple seals or something, and so that's why the dark one isn't fully free. I don't know, but I think for the most part, I like the idea of introducing the freed Forsaken right there. I just thought like Mogideon was a little cheesy, and with the spider web weave, it didn't look great on my phone at 2 a.m. That's what I'll say.
Jake, on your phone at 2 a.m. Come on, you're outing yourself, man.
I mean, that's the only chance I have time to watch TV. So,
well, on my giant 4K TV, it looked amazing.
Oh, did it? I bet it looked worse, honestly.
Actually, I'm just kidding. I don't really have that nice of a TV. I have a decent TV, but it's not anything special.
Well, you can get a giant 4K TV that's for like $200 now. So
that's insane.
That is true.
Anyways,
have you seen that meme that like everything is expensive in 2023 except for TVs?
No, I haven't.
Anyway, all right.
I mean, I feel like we were definitely maybe more critical than I was planning at the outset. If you want my unfiltered views on the episode, because I liked it more than Jake, maybe, I don't know. I do. There were a lot of things that, like, you're not wrong in the critiques you're bringing up. I just, for whatever reason, they didn't bother me as much. I just chose to be entertained. I don't know.
And if you, I mean, I don't know if you could choose to be entertained. If it entertains you, it entertains you, and I think that's fine. Like, you can, correct. I think you can agree. You can see my points and still like it, and you could disagree with my points. That's. I
guess I'm just able to suspend belief a little bit. More. I don't know.
As long as you're actually as long as you're acknowledging the validity of the critique, and not saying that it was a 15-second scene for no reason.
Okay, Josh, you have 15 to 20 seconds
I acknowledge
left if you want to just
of everything except for the I was just gonna say, should we all do our like ratings for the maybe the finale and the season as a whole?
If we literally do it in like 10 seconds.
Like 2 seconds. Okay. For finale, I'm going in 8 for the season, or finale 8, season 7.
Season 6.5, finale probably 6.
I'm the same as Josh, 8 and 7. Hey, I mean, 6.5 and 7 is not bad for a season. So I think at this point they've set up nicely for season 3. If they can 7. Okay, season 7.
Solid C.
Yeah, solid C.
All right.
I think if they can stick to the book more. We got a passing grade
from Jake. Honestly, that's W for.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy, but I do feel like in this season, the strongest stuff is when they stuck to the books. That's probably some bias because I love the books, and so I connect with those moments more. But I do think that those things just came across the screen better. And I hope that they can do that more in season 3, because now they've set up to actually be in place to do book 4.
It looks like they're making an effort. It looks like they're making an effort to get back on track with some of the book things.
Yes. I think, to me, it's not even like the accuracy to the books. It's just a lot of the plots have like wasted time. Like, they need to, I'm hoping for tighter writing in season 3, where like each moment really matters to the next, and like isn't just inflated drama for the sake of, we don't know what to do with this character this season. So
okay, on that note, thanks guys, good review. Let us know what you think in the comments, or hop on our Discord, etc. All the links are on our episode descriptions. See you later.